My entry point. My experiences and learnings from Ipsum have truly shaped my journey throughout 404. I was introduced to Indigenous pedagogies and epistemologies which have had a large impact on my views of education. Through this lens, I have since discovered that learning is holistic, reflective, student-centered, and highly experiential. In addition, storytelling, oral traditions, and narratives also have a large role in making learning meaningful. For me, teaching is place-based and set in context. It's about a lifelong journey as a student and a teacher. And most of all, it's about building support and community. My takeaways. From our coursework, I have seen 3 key themes that I really identify with: narratives, critical pedagogy, and multiple perspectives. Narratives integrate emotion and imagination, which ultimately make learning more meaningful and engaging. Life and teaching are constructed by narratives. Everyone has a living narrative, whether they create it themselves or a different version is imposed upon them. It is through the construction of narratives where we become protagonists of our own growth and success. Since stories are constructed and retold again and again, we must be conscious of the various lenses through which they are told. In the words of Thomas King, you have to be careful with the stories you tell, and you have to watch out for the stories that you are told. The great power of story is that it can shape content of any kind, true or fictional, into emotionally satisfying forms. For example, The Best of Times uses fun riddles and visuals to introduce the concept of multiplication. Illustrate, define. Through imagery, we can spark our learners' interest. We can work backwards by introducing images prior to defining or explaining the concept. As a language arts activity, teachers could have their students draw the book cover while they explain what they notice about the images. It's like a directed drawing. You explain the shapes and items within the drawing first, i.e., there's a circle with 2 dots in the middle, and have students follow along. The process of art making is a form of storytelling. We create artwork through narratives that are inspired by our memory, imagination, and observations of the world. We all construct our own versions and retell them through art. Narratives as learning stories. As teachers, we are able to create narratives alongside our students. We can follow our students' lead and develop a story around their learning process. Critical pedagogy. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Critical pedagogy begins with creating an environment where it is okay for students to take risks, make mistakes, and openly express their opinions. It is important to acknowledge that the classroom is a place where curiosity should be fostered so that students can question and challenge ideas that are presented. Critical thinking is teaching our students how to think rather than what to think. Students then become active participants within their own learning rather than passive recipients of information. We must value reasoning and evaluation of information rather than the memorization and regurgitation of facts. Real-world examples are crucial if we want to ensure that students are equipped with authentic experiences to understand and reason beyond the classroom setting. All knowledge is constructed, and thus we must question and understand the difference between meaning and intention. We must model what it means to be critically literate to our students. I personally understand a person to be critically literate once they are capable of navigating, engaging with, and making meaning from the world around them. We must encourage students to be constructive skeptics. Visual literacy, a critical lens. Visual literacy is the ability to interpret, negotiate, and make meaning from the information that is presented through imagery. At a time when society is experiencing information overload, it has never been more paramount for students to learn how to properly navigate and understand the explicit and implicit meanings behind visual and digital medias. Multiple perspectives. We can learn a lot from others. When we are receptive, we open ourselves up to new possibilities of understanding the world, and in the process, our thoughts and beliefs may change. It is important to realize the dynamic flexibility that arises once we acknowledge everyone's ideas and opinions. For me, it's about learning how to listen and speak with those who don't share the same viewpoint. It is learning to accept and validate the truthfulness of each person's perceptions so that we acknowledge and utilize the wisdom that is in each person. De Bono's 6 Thinking Hats. De Bono's 6 thinking hats can be used to help raise awareness and clarify different perspectives for our students. Each hat represents an isolated lens through which students can analyze and view a situation through. When all hats are considered, we are able to make more comprehensive conclusions. I have learned the importance of questioning how I was taught in the first place. What methods was I taught by, and how, why, and who was best served by me learning in this way? I have learned that I need to unlearn and relearn concepts before I can begin to successfully teach them to my students. I believe students should be exposed to different ways of knowing and understanding, so they can begin to pinpoint dominant discourses. As teachers, we need to remain neutral and create a safe space where students can explore and implement personal strategies. Every student is unique, and thus their needs and values will differ. We need to ensure that all of our students have access to a variety of methods and materials throughout their learning process. We as teachers need to be open and willing to listen to multiple interpretations or feelings that stem from any activity in our classroom. I am learning that the heart is the gateway to understanding. I am learning that teaching extends far beyond the curriculum. It's not about the material, rather it's about the community and environment that we create alongside our students. I am learning to find freedom within whatever context I find myself in. I am learning that it's okay not to know, but that it's not okay to not try. I am learning to breathe and practice wait time. I am learning that our reach should extend our grasp. I am learning that flexibility is the key to good teaching. I am now learning to go with the flow so that I don't interrupt my students' natural learning process. I am learning how to become a more confident math learner so that I don't murder math for my students. I am learning that art involves a lot more than just craft making. It's about communication, discovery, and self-expression. I am also learning what thoughtful assessment entails and how I can best involve my students.